Hello learners. In our last video, we have gone through content marketing technique wherein I have told you that the video will be divided into two parts wherein we'll discuss about the fundamentals of content marketing and content writing techniques. In this module, or you can say this is the second part of the module 6, which unfolds the content writing technique, right? But moving ahead, I would like to give you an example of how content can give you the most effective way of telling your story, right? So I have given you the hint already, right? So basically, uh, people relates with story, and hence, as a marketer, we need to gauge audience in terms of storytelling, right? So storytelling is something like if there is certain story behind any particular subject, then the users will be interested to learn about the story. Therefore, it is always suggested for other marketers that we tell the story, whether it be the brand story or an individual story. But then it is important that we focus on a specific story so that stories are something that users relate with, right? So because in the from the beginning itself, when we used to be kid, we grown up hearing all those stories from our grandparents or somewhere else, right? So it's just a nostalgic thing, plus as well as it's the way of marketing in which if you fail to do storytelling, then somewhere you will not relate with your customers or the users. Now let's showcase, let's move ahead. In this content writing technique, I'll tell you 7 different approaches that you should have so that you make the content pretty interesting whenever you are writing. Now, the first and the foremost part is research a lot. If you are doing a proper research about the topic that people are looking for, then once we are writing about a particular topic that caters to the user's requirement, then you crack the content writing technique, right? So it's pretty important that you need to have a proper research team. If you can do it, that's great. But then if you do not know how to do a proper research about certain content, then you should have a backend research team, right? Because without research, we cannot just randomly put any content. We cannot just write any content, right? The content, not only the topic, but the content of that complete blog should be in a way that we are giving correct information. If we are not giving correct information, then somewhere down the line, your credibility will be on stake. Therefore, it is suggested that you should come up with a researched topic, well researched topic, so that you cater to your user the best, right? Number two, we can say you have to have your own unique style because see currently if you see all the writers, there might be some other writers who might be interested in automobiles. There might be certain writers who would be interested in um, day-to-day life. There might be certain writers who are basically good at, let's say, travel blog, anything. So basically, you need to have your own style, plus you need to have your own niche. You need to catch your niche, and then you need to develop your style. When it comes to the style, you can even think of some of the humorous thing, or even, let's say, if you can add some sarcastic thing with your uh, writing style, that becomes something unique, right? People would relate to those, those style, that particular style. So you have to find your unique style before writing a story, right? So again, the first and foremost thing is very, very important. You have to do a lot of research before coming up with any particular story. That story, or uh, that complete piece of blog that you are writing, it should not a complete fake thing. And again, if it turns out to be a fake thing, right, it will affect your credibility. Now, number three is sticking to the point. I have seen certain storytellers or some writers, let's say, if they have put certain topic, but then if they are not sticking to that goal, that what would be the outcome of the story. For example, let's say if we are telling some story, right? And in the end, we should also give certain conclusion. There should be certain closure. If there is no closure, people or the users would be waiting for your closures, right? They would be unsatisfied with your pointers. So I've seen certain writers who are, you know, not giving the proper closure of the piece that they are writing, and then uh, while writing, they might come up with different subplots, right? So while, I mean, subplot is not wrong, but then if you are not giving closure to your subpoints even, then it becomes a different story altogether, right? So you need to make sure that you give certain closure. Plus, we need to make sure that we are sticking to a point. Like, if we are conveying certain story, then we should not divert ourselves from that particular story to some other story, right? Next important thing is you need to become creative, right? Now, how, you might ask this question, how to become creative? There might be saturation, there might be other writers who are writing about the same topic. How can I be different, right? Now, when I'm asking you to be creative, that doesn't mean you should write differently. You should write different context. I'm saying you to be to the point, but then the context of the topic could be different. For example, um, let me give you an idea. Let's say this content writing techniques slides. What would you give the name of this slide? You can give the name uh, as if, like, um, different content writing techniques. But then, uh, if we are putting up, this particular thing, like different content writing techniques, or we can even think of this: what are the different content writing techniques? Tell me your views, right? So if we put such certain questions, then people might feel that this is the same thing that, you know that I have already gone through, right? Now, so to be interesting, so let's say I have put 7 pointers in this complete slides. You could come up with this particular headline saying 7 writing techniques every writer should focus on, right? So this becomes very important, or you can say precisely, you know uh, creative idea when it comes to topic. Then when we are coming up with certain idea, we need to make sure that the idea relates with the common users, common people who are going to read. So we should not use bigger big jargons, right? We need to keep the sentences simple from the perspective of the users. Let's say if the user is reading that particular blog for the first time, they should get that, they should not find out a dictionary to understand certain points, some ideas, or some of the other language that we are using as a writer, right? So we need to make sure that we come up with a proper idea, proper structure of the content. Then your view matters, because you might have seen quote, right? In court there would be one public prosecutor, and then there would be some defense lawyer, right? There could be so public prosecutors view would be different, and defense lawyers view would be different, right? So as a writer we need to make sure that we need to take one stance. If we are writing from both the ends, like let's say if you are saying about certain things, let's say if you are discussing for the movement, you need to be sure that you are talking about for the movement. And if you are talking about against the movement, you need to make sure that you are talking about against the movement, right? If you are putting your legs on both the foundation, then you might fall down, right? Therefore it is always suggested to have your own view, own stance, so that you tell your story as per your topic, your idea, and your point of view. Next technique, as I already told you, the topic, right? Form a killer title and first paragraph, which should uh, create engagement, or which should make it interesting. So if your first line, or if your first heading is boring, or you can say it's not effective, then user would start from the start would lose the interest, right? So how to form a killer title? Example I have already given: how to start content writing versus 7 amazing tips to start content writing now. So first versus the second, if you see, as per me, I'll go along with the second uh, headline, which says 7 amazing tips to start content writing now. Now, if you choose a second headline, then definitely the user who is reading the blog might finish up the complete blog. But then if you are starting with the first headline, which is how to start content writing, they might lose interest in the initial part. If they lose interest, they'll visit some other website, right? So it's pretty important that we put killer title, right? And our first paragraph should be very interesting. Next important thing is, don't exaggerate and keep it simple. If we are not keeping things pretty simple, then you know most of the time user would lose interest while reading your copy or reading your content, right? So you might have seen, I mean, who exaggerate most of the time? So if there be any kind of you know news channels, they would put some mirch masala to the news, right? If we are keeping it simple, then we are, making things simpler for the users. Even if we exaggerate too much, then again users might fall out. Therefore, it's pretty important to keep things simple. Now, next, and the for most important thing, we need to keep on edit, and then read. Sometimes it happens to me also. Whenever I write blog, I tend to forget reading, because if we do not read, we cannot get the gist of the uh, content that we are writing. In that case, what would happen? We can uh, we can miss out certain important things. Like, let's say, if on a flow, if I'm writing any piece of content, I might uh, forget some. I can do certain grammatical mistakes, right? Some mistakes in pronunciation, or any other spelling mistakes or errors can happen. All right. So it's important that we keep on editing the piece that we are writing, and therefore we are going with the flow, right? First, importantly, we need to change the sentences that don't match the flow, right? So let's say if we are writing in a um, first form, right? For example, if I am writing that I did this today, I did that today, and then suddenly I changed the complete flow to a third person, it doesn't go along with the complete flow, right? So we need to make sure that we only keep a single flow, whatever we are writing. Next important thing is remove the sentences not in line with the topic. So again, I previously I told you that we need to be on point. We should not divert ourselves too much. But then sometimes it might happen that there might be certain sentences which is not going along with the topic, right? So we need to make sure that we remove the sentences which are not going with the topic. Again, focus on removing spelling, grammatical, and punctuation errors. It is very, very important, because if we are putting commas, full stop, and if we forget to put certain things, then the meaning of the sentence might change, right? Therefore, it's very, very important that we, focus on grammatical errors, punctuation errors, and spelling errors. And in the end, we should read. If we are not reading the complete thing, we cannot do the proofreading of our own content that we have come up with, right? So proofread is pretty important thing in writing any content. If you do not read after what you have written, you will miss on a lot of points. So, as a summary, I have already told you that first and very important thing, we need to spend time for research, right? Finding a unique style is important, right? We should not deviate from the topic. Show your creativity, your what you can come up with, right? Keep catchy titles and first paragraph. Do not boast about the topic. Keep it simple, right? Keep editing, and in at the end, do not forget to do proofreading, right? So this is the summary of this complete slide. Additionally, I would like to have certain points which is importantly which is very, very important for you people who are starting for the first time. Find your own niche. If you are good at something, then, for example, if you are good at automobiles writing, if you are good at gadgets, you should pick up certain niche and then start with that niche, right? if you are if you are a good, you can say, if you write something good about travel blogs, you should not start with technical things, right? So a traveler needs to have their own blog. Plus they can, they should stick to their niche first, and then if they explore it and if they feel that okay, I can switch to some other niche, then I should give a try, right? Then we need to focus on the writing styles, what kind of styles we are preferring, right? Then again, I mean, the important or the core value for the write up or for the content writing is giving a proper headline. In between you should, have, you should display all the value, and then you should give a conclusion. So these three aspects are very, very important whenever you are writing anything. So with this, thank you so much for your time, and we'll meet in the next module.